Tonight on KTAB News Weekend, how folks in Abilene are carrying on a tradition that spans more than 100 years. And people in Houston gathered to remember the 7-year-old who was killed in a drive-by shooting. That killer still on the loose. Plus, the government shutdown now on day 15, affecting government workers and others. That's a look at some of your top headlines tonight. KTAB News Weekend starts in 60 seconds with your forecast first.
Now, live from the home of
Yep, that is a dark-eyed junco.
For Jay Packer,
Now, from your weather authority, your KTAB forecast first.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's been a very nice weather day today in the big country. We've got temperatures going all the way into the 60s today, even up close to 70 in some places. Our futurecast or forecast for tomorrow, here's what it looks like. Tomorrow morning, 46 degrees when you wake up and head out the door. By noontime, we're looking at 55 degrees, and then by 5 p.m., we should be up near that 70-degree mark again. Rain does creep back into the forecast. I'll have those complete details in a little bit, but KTAB News Weekend starts now.
Right now, live from the home of Super Bowl 53. This is KTAB News Weekend.
Good evening, I'm Nathan Grieve. Well, it is a tradition that dates back to the 1900s. Birdwatchers flocking to Abilene each year to take part in what's called the Christmas Count. KTAB's Jessica Rank shows us how this simple hobby became a passion for dozens in the big country.
Yep, that is a dark-eyed junco.
for Jay Packer, birding is more than just a hobby.
Did you hear it?
It's a passion that started when he was just 12 years old.
I wasn't really planning on getting interested in birds, and I got invited to go on a trip. And so I saw some really cool stuff, like a great blue heron, which was about as tall as I was as a 12-year-old.
And more than 20 years later, Jay's seen birds all over the world.
Doesn't have the red on the crown. This is a male. Yeah.
And now he's helping count them in Abilene.
We got 10 cedar waxwings, and we've got a house finch.
Becoming a part of an age-old tradition called the Christmas Count.
Scientists can use that data to kind of answer questions like, are certain birds becoming more common, are certain birds declining? And so it's just a good way to do some citizen science and to get outside and enjoy the outdoors.
And a great way to have fun as well, flying in a flock of feathered fanatics.
Just identifying the birds and just being able to see new birds, it's never ending.
And with almost 300 birds recorded in Taylor County,
Oh, it's exciting. I just can't stop talking about it.
it's an experience that's sure to get you to soar above the clouds. In Abilene, with coverage you can count on, Jessica Rank, KTAB News.
All right, thank you, Jessica. Well, it was January 2nd when parents Logan and Sasha Pringle made a call that was received at the Abilene Taylor County Law Enforcement Center. And baby Rory right there was born less than 3 minutes into that call. And dispatcher Chalin on the phone every step of the way, instructing the family how to swaddle the baby, to use a shoelace to tie around the umbilical cord. All of that before paramedics arrived 7 minutes later to take mother and baby to the hospital.
We were not ready to have my secret dream of a home birth come true, but
No.
it did.
Yeah, it did.
And you survived.
I did.
Mom, dad, father-in-law all doing well, and we're told that baby Rory happy and healthy there as well. Now you can listen to that entire 911 phone call on the KTAB website, which is bigcountryhomepage.com. Well, looking still in Abilene at politics now, the mayor holding another of his community conversations just this week. Abilene Mayor Anthony Williams holding that conversation not in the convention center where they've been, but this time in a coffee shop. Now, there were fewer people, of course, but they came with lots of questions. Streets, as always, a hot topic in Abilene. And along with that, some changes at the Abilene Animal Shelter.
I was very angry at the situation with the past with the animal shelter. Today, after talking to him, Mayor Williams is passionate about Abilene. He has a heart about Abilene. I have a different opinion about him.
It's never easy to stand in front of people and take any and every question, but I think it's the right thing to do. People have a right to know. People have a right for the mayor to be available and accessible and to hold city government accountable.
Now the mayor says he'll hold more of these conversations throughout the year, and of course the State of the City address upcoming as well. Well, we have more information now on an Abilene pastor in need of a kidney transplant. This was last month when we first told you about Eddie Jordan. He is the longtime pastor of Abilene's New Light Baptist Church. Jordan needs to raise about $80,000 for his out-of-pocket costs before and after that procedure. Now, insurance does cover the transplant, but Jordan's family has to cover all of the other expenses. Those are things like anti-rejection drugs, antiviral drugs, and all of that out-of-town travel. Now, there is a link to the page for donations there on the KTAB website at bigcountryhomepage.com. Well, hundreds in the Houston community gathered today to honor the 7-year-old victim of a drive-by shooting whose killer is still on the run. Jasmine Barnes was in her mom's car last Sunday heading to the store when a gunman opened fire. Janet Chamlian has more.
Justice for Jasmine.
A community and beyond, united in grief.
An entire country has now galvanized to find justice for Jasmine. Jasmine is everyone's child.
An overflow crowd of more than 500 gathering to support the family of 7-year-old Jasmine Barnes. Her heartbroken mom, LaPortia Washington, also shot in the attack.
We gonna find no matter what corner we have to turn, no matter what rock we gotta go under, we gonna find you, man.
The event a fundraiser for the family, but another purpose organizers say is even more important, keeping Jasmine's death on people's minds.
We are here to support her because being a family and to lose your daughter as in a situation like this is a tragedy.
It's been almost a week since the 7-year-old was shot in the head by a passing motorist while riding in her mother's car along with her 3 sisters. Even with a $100,000 reward out there, no one has yet been held accountable for the crime.
The sheriff released this suspect sketch, a thin white man in his 30s or 40s with a 5 o'clock shadow. And NASA helped enhance this security video of the red truck the suspect was driving. Deputies were back on the access road Friday, where the seemingly unprovoked attack happened, looking for clues that might have gone unnoticed. And they continued knocking on nearby doors, hoping to find more security footage of the truck. Washington says she's overwhelmed by support. A GoFundMe drive has topped $60,000, and celebrities have used their social media platforms to raise awareness. Houston Texans wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins posting this photo and writing, "This is for you, Jazz," dedicating today's playoff game and his paycheck from it to the family. Amen. Tonight, the hope of many here, that Jasmine's killer will be arrested before she's laid to rest Tuesday. Janet Chamlian, CBS News, Houston.
Turning to your local crime news, an Abilene man accused of having sex with a 14-year-old has learned his punishment for sexual assault of a child. 20-year-old Corbin Mills, 19 at the time of that photo, is going to receive a 10-year probation, and he's required to register as a sex offender. Now, the judge set a deferred education along with the probation and registering. That means that if he serves his probation without violating any of those provisions, the convictions could be removed from his record. Now, according to court documents, the 14-year-old girl said that then 18-year-old Mills was her boyfriend, and he allegedly snuck onto the Ben Ritchie Boys Ranch campus to have relations with that girl. Boys Ranch President Carrie Fortune told KTAB News all their youngsters are safe and they take every precaution to ensure the campus remains a safe place. And a warning from the Early Police Department in Brown County alerting the community to aggressive salesmen. Salesmen are working without a permit, and they're going door to door peddling cleaning supplies. According to residents, they're being aggressive with their selling techniques. Police say no company or group has received a permit to sell to homes in Early. Police have also said to stop, warning that they'll start handing out citations. Now, if this happens to you, call Early Police. That phone number is area code 325-646-5322. Well, meetings continued at the White House today as border security remains a sticking point. Vice President Mike Pence led today's negotiations. He said the discussion was, quote, productive, while also reaffirming the administration's insistence on a border wall.
As the government shutdown enters its third week, Vice President Mike Pence and other senior White House officials met with congressional staff in search of a way out of the impasse. But hours after the meeting, President Trump tweeted that not much headway was made. Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney faulted Democrats for the lack of progress.
Yet the opening line from one of the lead Democrat negotiators was that they were not there to talk about any agreement. They were actually, in my mind, there to stall, and we did not make much progress.
Democrats are calling the White House position untenable. On Friday, he suggested the shutdown may last months or even years.
If we have to stay out for a very long period of time, we're going to do that.
Meanwhile, 800,000 federal employees hang in the balance, most without work or pay.
It's affecting me personally, so I'm going to watch what I do. I'm being more conservative, staying in, not going out, not overextending myself from an expense basis.
Talks between President Trump and Democratic leaders ended in a standstill on Friday after a heated meeting in the Situation Room, with the president demanding $5.6 billion for a border wall. Mr. Trump has indicated he'd be willing to bypass Congress and declare a national emergency. That might allow him to tap Pentagon funds for wall construction. Nancy Pelosi, the new Democratic Speaker, spoke to CBS Sunday Morning.
I think that effectively what he would like to say is, it doesn't matter what Congress sends me, it just matters what I insist upon. And that's not really the way the system of checks and balances works.
The president is expected to remain at the White House Saturday and head to Camp David Sunday, where Mulvaney and senior aides will meet to lay out the administration's 2019 legislative priorities.
Talks are expected to continue here tomorrow, but even if there is a breakthrough, the Senate, which will ultimately have to pass a spending bill before the government is reopened, won't return to Capitol Hill until Tuesday. Mola Lengi, CBS News, the White House.
And we will have a somewhat different perspective on the shutdowns. That's coming up later in the show. We'll also take a look at a new park that's coming to Anson soon. Our Claire Kreitz brings us that story, and how the recent weather to the north stranded some soldiers in Oklahoma. But we have seen a little bit better weather around here, right, Clemente?
Absolutely, Nathan. If you like warm and mild, well, we've got more of the same on tap for tomorrow. Let's have a look at the almanac for today. 70 for a high is what we reached after an overnight low of 39 degrees. There you see sunrise, sunset, and then our rainfall totals for the month. After the break, I'll tell you if we're going to be able to add to that rain gauge total. So we'll have a look at that forecast in a bit.
With coverage you can count on, this is KTAB News Weekend.
I'm from Mena, Arkansas.
Flew in from Atlanta.
Now from KTAB, this is your Weather Authority forecast.
Welcome back, everyone. As we take a look at the big picture, we're going to be noticing a little bit of a split flow off to our west. We see a lot of moisture and precipitation over near the New Mexico and Arizona area. A lot of that's going to be moving our way, but most of it, unfortunately, is going to hit us to the north, and we'll have a little bit of a split flow develop. So what ends up happening there is we'll have a little bit of a slight chance of rain tomorrow evening, and then things do improve a little bit toward the latter part of this next work week, and I'll tell you a little bit about that here in just a bit. But there you see a little bit more of the cloud cover beginning to move in off to our folks to our west, out toward Andrews and the Monahans region of Texas. We see a pretty good deal of little bitty high thin clouds beginning to move in. Max Live radar showing us nothing going on right now across the big country, and here are our temperatures right now, looking very nice all across the big country, anywhere ranging from the lows up here at 49 up in Knox City. We do have a 48 down here in Brownwood, another 49 down here in Goldthwaite, and then as you look over here in the Key City, we've got 52 degrees and 51 up in Stamford. So very nice conditions all in all. As we look at what we anticipate happening for this next work week, we look for a passage of a cold front. It'll be very weak in nature, not a lot of precipitation associated with it. The one we are looking at is a little bit later on that will bring us a 30% chance of showers over on Thursday. But you'll notice the temperatures stay pretty much in the 60s, dropping off into the 50s by Wednesday and Thursday. A little bit cooler, but that should be a little bit more seasonal. We should be more used to that type of temperature for this time of year. 46 is what we're calling for this evening. Pleasant, but overall it will be very cool out there. Winds will be very light from the southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour here in Abilene. And then, of course, tomorrow, 68 degrees is what we're talking about. We'll be getting pretty close to that 70-degree mark. Winds will be picking up a little bit more tomorrow is what I anticipate there. They'll be from the southwest 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting up to 25 miles per hour at some points in the afternoon. For you folks tonight here in the city of Brownwood, chilly evening is what we've got. Light wind, south wind, 5 to 10 miles per hour is what we're looking at for you folks. So you'll also have a little bit more of a wind situation developing tomorrow afternoon. Look for those probably to kick in sometime after the noon hour. But all in all, it should be very nice. 5 to 15, gusts up to 25 miles per hour with a high of 68 degrees is what we're calling for. There you see our 7-day forecast, which of course does feature that chance of precipitation on Thursday and Friday. 30% on Thursday, 40% on Friday. And as I mentioned, we do have that passage of a cold front. People see a cold front and they start to have a lot of second thoughts about their weather and how they should dress, but don't be too concerned about this one dropping too much in temperatures, but you notice a little bit of a drop off on Wednesday. But all in all, very nice temperatures, very moderate for this time of year.
50s are fine for January.
I will take it.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that whole week.
Absolutely. You got it.
Yeah, well, we had it pretty good here, but, you know, where we didn't, it was pretty much everywhere else, actually. Not too far to the north, really, and that winter weather up there. This is what we're going to look at particularly here is Oklahoma City, Will Rogers World Airport there. Now, the winter weather up there left hundreds of soldiers all just stranded at the airport.
That's right. Those troops all trying to get back to their post in Lawton, Oklahoma, but they got some help while they were stuck.
I'm from North Carolina.
I'm from Mena, Arkansas.
Flew in from Atlanta.
Troops from all over the country stranded after winter weather hit the state, many of them on their way back to basic training at Fort Sill near Lawton. They passed the time as best they could, waiting hours and hours for the next leg of their trip.
Taking small naps here and there.
Just hanging out with my friends.
But even after the holidays, airport staff like Joshua Ryan say the giving spirit is alive and well.
It's been amazing to see the hearts of Oklahomans and what they've done to reach out.
Businesses and residents set up meals on Thursday.
In Oklahoma City.
Even Oklahoma City Mayor David Holt brought breakfast on Friday.
It's the Oklahoma standard to make sure that people have a good experience here in Oklahoma City, especially people like our U.S. Army soldiers. We worked together and got donuts from Krispy Kreme, so there's 800 donuts.
And within about 3 or 4 hours, we had 800 meals ready to go for this morning at 6 a.m.
Bob Markle with Principal Financial Group in Oklahoma City brought McDonald's. He says he's had 4 kids that went through the military, so this is personal.
The moment we saw this and, oh gosh, they're going to sleep on the floor tonight, we're going to try to see if we can make this a little easier for them in the mornings.
Well, they might be stuck there, but the goal was to get all those soldiers back on buses and onto their post at Fort Sill, that is in Lawton, just as soon as they could get them there. Well, still to come on KTAB News Weekend, a Tennessee pizzeria doing something to help the folks out who are out of work during this government shutdown.
And the Cowboys and Texans are both in the playoffs. Dusty breaks down both games coming up later in sports.
Better this time. 24-14. Oh, really? Oh, okay. So 2 minutes. They're at the 2-minute warning. Okay. So they actually got that. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 24-14.
This is BigCountryHomepage.com Sports with KTAB News Weekend continues.
Welcome back. Well, the Anson community is coming together to build a park there in memory of 2 outstanding citizens, and KTAB's Claire Kreitz has that story.
2 partners, well, not in crime, but the opposite.
Sylvia Moreland, she is a longtime resident of Anson. She worked at Meals on Wheels. She was a member of the Anson Opera Board. She was a member of several other boards in town. Her partner, who worked at Meals on Wheels, Pat Sabalas, she was also a member of the EDC and some other boards.
Making Anson a better place.
Together, those ladies accomplished a lot of things.
But when this duo passed away, Sylvia followed by Pat, something needed to be done to keep their memory alive.
And so there was no better thing to do than to keep them together.
Building a park in their honor.
When we were deciding what to put here and what to do, I was asking their kids and family members what was their favorite colors. And one said purple, and I'm okay with purple. And then the other one said yellow, and I'm okay with yellow. But you put purple and yellow together, and come to find out it was Anson's first school colors.
It's a place where friends, family, and the community of Anson can go to reflect.
Pat, she was my aunt, you know, so it kind of took this, this took a lot to do this.
And remember.
I know watching her husband when he comes up here just to look around, I know he thinks about her all the time.
While the park still has some finishing touches left, those working on the project know these 2 women would be proud.
I would get a phone call like I did in the past from Sylvia at 9 o'clock at night, and she would say, "Sonny, thank you." But I would reply to her, "This is not Sonny. This is Anson. This is our community, and this is our way of saying thank you."
In Anson, with coverage you can count on, Claire Kreitz, KTAB News.
Hey, thanks, Claire. Now, they're also selling engraved bricks to help build and sustain that park, and you can check in with the City of Anson for getting your own brick. Well, a Tennessee pizzeria offering free food to federal employees, try saying that 5 times fast, affected by the government shutdown. This is at Scratch Brick Oven. That looks fantastic. They made a Facebook post, and that reads, quote, "It's totally unfair what is happening to you. Here's hoping you're back to work soon." Now, anybody with a government ID is able to get a free pizza there.
They're very grateful. You know, it's the least we can do, really. Just hoping they get back to work and being productive citizens again. So if we can help some families maintain their sense of dignity and get a meal out like they usually do, we're happy to do it.
Now already they've given out more than $100 worth of those pizza pies, probably a lot more out by now. Well, it is time now for Sports Dusty in the BCH Sports Center. Playoff football, Dusty. 2 Texas teams playing today, but I think we've got some scores now.
Yeah, well, the Texans and Cowboys, of course, played today, both of them. And the Cowboys are underway right now, and this is a very close one. Houston was earlier today. I'll have the highlights from that. And the Cowboys right now are up by just 2 points. It's 24-22. I'll have more updates coming up next in sports.
KTAB News Weekend. This is Big Country Homepage. This is BigCountryHomepage.com Sports with Dusty Baker.
Well, the wild card games today were for the Cowboys and the Texans as well, and they are currently playing. The Cowboys are actually just about to be finishing their ball game right now. This year, 2 teams finally back in the hunt here. The Cowboys, of course, first hosting the Seattle Seahawks and looking for their first playoff win since 2015. And after trading field goals early on, the Cowboys scored a late touchdown to take a 10-6 lead. And now, actually, 24-14, that changed to 24-22. The Seahawks just scored, but on an onside kick, the Cowboys recovered, and they win the ball game. The Cowboys win this one 24-22, and they will take on either the Rams or the Saints in the divisional round. Now, let's go to the game that was earlier today at Energy Stadium with the Texans taking on the Indianapolis Colts in their 3rd meeting of the season. We start first in the very first quarter. Andrew Luck had a great season, and he has a great start to this ball game. Airs it downfield to T.Y. Hilton to the 6-yard line. That's a 38-yard reception. T.Y. Hilton has had quite a year against the Houston Texans. Next play, Luck to Eric Ebron, a 6-yard touchdown. Quickly, the Colts on the board. It's 7-0 Indy. Later in the first, play action. This time, Luck rolling out to his left. He finds Chester Rogers. That goes down to the 8-yard line, a 16-yard reception, and that sets up this 2-yard touchdown run for Marlon Mack. All of a sudden, it is 14-0 Colts in the first quarter. Less than a minute left in the first. Deshaun Watson drops back, and it is picked off by Moore. That's taken down to the 50-yard line. Watson says that's on me right there, folks. Second quarter now. Luck, once again, play action. This time, that pass is tipped, and it's picked off by Dunn. Houston, however, would go 3 and out on the ensuing drive, so still no offense for the Texans. Later in the second, it's been a lot of Colts plays offensively you've seen here, and this is yet another touchdown. Luck to Dontrell Inman, an 18-yard score, and the Colts are up 21-0. Under 2 minutes left in the half now. Watson trying to at least get some points on the board. It's 3rd and 14. He passes it to Kike Kute, who takes it to just down at the right around 1 yard to go. It's 4th and 1. Watson to the end zone, and that is incomplete. No offense whatsoever for the Texans. They are held scoreless at the half. Fourth quarter, 21-0. Texans finally driving. Watson to Kute, and this time he dives into the end zone. That's a 6-yard touchdown. Watch the replay there. He just barely gets the ball across. Moving on now later in the fourth. It's 4th down and 4. Deshaun Watson making a major play here. That's a 21-yard gain. Texans have life, but just over 4 minutes left. 4th and 10. Watson drops back and he throws a wide and incomplete prayer pass. The Texans kept themselves from getting shut out by the Colts, but their offense significantly struggled in this one. The Colts are moving on to take on the Chiefs. They win this one 21-7. The Texans season comes to a close. Well, all of our big country teams in basketball are on the road today. The ACU Wildcats men and women's teams both in Huntsville this afternoon. Starting first with the Wildcat women, they defeat Sam Houston State in an absolute shootout this afternoon to start conference play in the Southland Conference. The men, however, played the Bearcats in the second game of the day, and ACU made a late rally but could not come all the way back from a 25-point deficit. Sam Houston State wins this one 71-68. Well, a very interesting and big playoff day. Now one Texas team, the Cowboys, remain. But that is all the time that we have for sports. KTAB News Weekend continues after the break. Plus, Clemente has one final look at our forecast straight ahead.
KTAB News Weekend continues.
Well, this was a great forecast you've lined up for us. Definitely a great one for January.
It's a great day to come in and be a popular weather guy. I tell you what, here's a 7-day forecast. We have a slight chance of rain on Sunday evening. A little bit of that moisture moving through, and then the cold front, not much of a cold front, but it still is one nonetheless on Tuesday with a rain chance on Thursday and Friday.
All right, well, great weather ahead, and that does do it for us for now. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night. Have a good night.
Good night, and be careful out there.